Starting Amazon FBA can feel like stepping into a gold rush. Everyone talks about massive sales, passive income, and even quitting your day job. But behind the scenes, most beginners struggle to get going or even fail because of some obvious mistakes. After 3 years of selling on Amazon and making this business fully remote, I see the same 3 mistakes holding people back. And I've made almost every single one of them myself. But honestly, it's no surprise because if no one shows you how to do this business the right way, they're almost hard to even know of. Nobody, and I mean nobody, talks about them when you're just starting out, which is why so many sellers end up frustrated, broke, or convinced that Amazon just doesn't work. The sad part, I see most new sellers still making the same mistakes today. So I have decided to put an end to it and call them out before you even ever have to face them. Now, if you've been thinking about starting or just started your selling journey, this video will be a wake-up call because it came in perfect timing. By the end, you'll know the 3 biggest traps that take out most beginners and how to completely sidestep them so that you can build real momentum while everyone else burns out. These are hard-learned lessons from my own experience, and I'm going to show you exactly what I wish I knew day one. So stick with me to the end. Each one of them are just as important. Now, let's dive into it, shall we? So we're going to go over the top 3 beginner mistakes that I see that are detrimental and critical to a business, okay? So number 1, not knowing how to read the data. Let's talk about this. So first, we have price, sales, and competition. Guys, if people do not understand that the pricing has to be consistent, you have to have good competition amongst smaller sellers, and there has to be stable amounts of volume. That's how you prepare of how many units you want to buy, what you want to buy, and if you have enough competition or less enough competition to be able to sell these units through. And people go in listings, I see all the time, of new listings that don't sell well. Maybe they have really good ROI and potential profit, but they get no sales, once a sale every 2 months. Or they go on a listing with a seller who's been selling on Amazon for 20 years and Amazon doesn't favor them at all. Those are big no-nos even in the business when you're in it for 3, 4, or 5 years, all right? Also, there's tools to fix this. SellerAmp and Keepa. These are the 2 main non-negotiable tools. I'm not related with them or affiliated with either of these softwares, but they are phenomenal. They tell you everything you'd ever need to know for the data, other sellers, pricing, you name it. And they have all the history on these listings on Amazon for the past however long they've been around, right? So it's unbelievable to have all the access to data where you are 99.99% sure what you're buying is going to make you money and going to be very, very profitable. But most sellers don't even know these exist, so they just skip onto it. Now, let's dial into the next one, all right? Zoom in here a bit. Lacking network or learning from others. I was one of the worst people ever to not take advantage of this, okay? I promise you, and I'll dive into it in a sec. So, networking helps you find suppliers, avoid mistakes, and get faster results by learning from others' experience. My Amazon business literally skyrocketed when I met people in the industry and they taught me their tools, their tactics, their tricks, right? Because with all the information, we're all working together. We're all independent sellers doing our own thing, selling on the marketplace, and trying to find success, right? It's not really a competition factor outside of all the other people out there on the Amazon space. We're a team working together. So trading ideas, leads, and knowledge was so good for my business. And in the early days, I didn't even think to do it. I didn't talk to anybody. I didn't tell anybody I was starting this business. I didn't want to tell anybody. And for that case, I was limited. But then when I opened it up, started going to Amazon events, meeting people online, through Twitter, through social media, my business grew exponentially, let alone being able to become remote, right? Which is a story for another time. So also, join groups, communities, or coaching. Share wins and losses, ask questions, and collaborate. Your network can save you months of trial and error or even your business. And this is so true, and it should not be underestimated. So I was one of the worst people in the early days, struggling with trying to network people or learning from others. I didn't want coaching. I just wanted to figure it out. Yes, it worked out, but boy, it was risky because there's a lot of times where my business was no longer going to be a business because I was making a lot of detrimental mistakes with the Amazon business that I just didn't know. I was thinking, oh, this is great, I can do this. No, you can't. This is great, I can do this. No, you can't. But then once I started networking and meeting other people, and I got some mentors in the industry, it was amazing to just grow and not have to worry about problems that I never knew about. It was like having questions here and there whenever I needed them, especially from friends and groups, like joining Discord groups, joining Twitter groups, joining school communities. Unbelievable for the business, all right? It saves you everything. And that money that you invest, most of these groups are just free to network with, but that money that you do invest in coaching or a mentor gets made back so much more quicker than whatever money you ever invested, all right? Now, on to the next one. The third one is quitting too early. And don't shrug your shoulders or sigh at this. Literally, Amazon FBA is one of the only businesses I've seen where if you don't quit too early, you're bound to find success. Just because it's a bit of slower growth sometimes, you're only making $500 a month or $1,000 a month. Think about this. You're building a completely remote income to do it from anywhere in the world. Give it 6 months, give it 12 months, give it 18 months and see what happens, okay? I started with very little money and I consistently stuck to it. Went through the sourcing process, went through the networking process, and my business grew to where I become fully remote and I could travel the world. And that's what you should work towards. You shouldn't be working towards, breaking the bank so early and making thousands of dollars in revenue. Just continue to stick with it, learn the industry, network with other people, and just don't quit, all right? So there's an FBA learning curve that I like to call it, where there's just a lot of information that you have to take in the early days outside of online business in general, just learning Amazon, learning the software, the platform, how they operate, how they work, what are the details about it, like how to send in a shipment, sell through your inventory, buy new inventory. Like it's a complete process. So 3 months is not even close to enough time, or even 6 months. Now, I'm not saying you won't make money in the first 3 months. You could make money in the first 3 weeks, right? By getting inventory, sending it in, and selling through and making a good ROI. But as far as the learning curve and really understanding the business, it takes a lot of time. I'm still learning every day, even 3+ years into the business. Also, commit to the long game. So Amazon FBA is a business, not a quick side hustle lottery. So despite that word of side hustle and everybody wants to create this side income to then travel, quit their job, whatever it may be, just invest as a business from day one. It's going to be way more worth it than just looking at to resell products and make a bit of money. Commit to the long game, do it for months on end, because worst case scenario, you do have a job that you love. Well, that's not worst case scenario, but worst case scenario, you have a job and you wanted to use Amazon FBA as a side income. You can make an extra few $1,000s a month, maybe put it away for, future travel expenses or whatever it may be, but that's worst case scenario. Now, if you want to make it a full business out of it, great. That's what I recommend, but always treat it as a business. Don't just treat it as a side hustle to do on the side and not really take serious and so on. It is a long-term game, and that is important to take note of, right? So there we go. There's the top 3 beginner mistakes that I see. Just to recap it, we have quitting too early, lacking network or learning from others. Trust me, swallow your pride on this one. Learn from others, network, meet friends in the industry. It's also cool to make money together, right? Why would you not want to make money with your friends or other people in the industry? You're trading ideas and can result in thousands of dollars, especially with coaching and mentoring, right? And then first, we talked about not knowing how to read the data. This is critical. If you know how to read the data, all else can be answered. I always say this, you can get questions answered about shipping, delays, times, questions, little information with Amazon. But if you know how to read the data and make proper buying decisions, you will have success for many, many years to come on Amazon. I can almost guarantee you that. So there we go with some of the top mistakes that beginners make with Amazon that I see. And if you clear all these concerns and all these mistakes, you're going to have a long, long journey of selling online and making a lot of money and doing it from anywhere in the world. And that's the most important part about it. So there we go. There's some of the top mistakes with Amazon. Please like and subscribe as always, as I'm going to continue to make more and more videos coming up. See you guys for now.